Welcome to M3 Creative Academy's Music Appreciation course. Today we're going to introduce the woodwind instruments of the orchestra, understand how they make sound, and hear some examples of what they sound like. Woodwind instruments are a family of instruments who make their sound by blowing air over a reed or small opening in the instrument to make their sound. Most woodwind instruments use a reed, which is a small, thin piece of wood fixed tightly to the instrument. When the musician blows into the instrument where the reed is, it vibrates and produces sound. The one exception, however, is the flute, which does not have a reed. Instead, it has a hole which the musician blows across to produce the sound. Now, flutes are made of metal, but they were once made of wood, which is why we include them in the woodwind family. While there are many different types of woodwind instruments, let's focus on learning 4 of them: the flute, the clarinet, the oboe, and the bassoon. To help us learn what these instruments sound like, I'm also going to introduce our listening at the same time. The song that we're going to listen to is called Peter and the Wolf by Russian composer Sergei Prokofiev. This is a work that uses a storyteller to tell a story about a boy named Peter, while the orchestra enhances the story by adding melodies for the different characters and making it almost like a movie. In the story, Peter, he's a boy living with his grandfather in the forest. One day, against his grandfather's wishes, Peter wanders out of the yard and into the forest. His pet duck and cat follow, but you know what? Soon a hungry wolf comes and manages to eat the duck. With the help of a small bird, Peter manages to snare the wolf by its tail, and with the help of some hunters, take him to the zoo. Let's start hearing some of these melodies. Let's start with the flute. The flute is the instrument that can play the highest notes in the orchestra, and that is why Prokofiev used it for the bird's melody. Listen to the bird's melody. Sounds like a bird singing, doesn't it? Next, we have the oboe. The oboe is a unique instrument, even among the woodwinds, because it uses 2 reeds that are tightly tied together. For this reason, we actually call it a double reed instrument, and you'll be able to hear the difference between it and the clarinet, which looks pretty similar. Here's the duck's melody. Sounds like a duck, doesn't it? Third, we have the clarinet. Although the clarinet and the oboe are similar in size, they are very different. This is because the clarinet only has 1 reed. It also has a deeper, more open sound to it. Here's the cat's melody. Finally, the last woodwind is the bassoon, which is the largest woodwind instrument we will talk about and the one that plays the lowest notes. Like the oboe, it is also a double reed instrument, and it has a very warm, reedy sound to it. In the story, grandfather is grumpy that Peter would disobey, and this comes out in the melody used to describe the grandfather. Listen. Okay, before we listen to the whole orchestra play the piece, there are a few more themes to be aware of. First, Peter's melody is played by violins. Let's listen to that one. Second, the wolf's melody is played by French horns. Lastly, the hunters have their own melody too, played by trumpets and woodwinds. Great. Now before we listen to the whole piece, let's review all the instruments and melodies that we will hear. First, the bird's theme played by the flute. Next is the cat's theme by the clarinet. The duck's theme played by the oboe. Grandfather's theme played by the bassoons. Peter's theme, played by violins. The Wolf's theme, by the French horns. And the Hunter's theme, played by the trumpets and the woodwinds. Make sure that you go to our website and sign up for future lessons as we publish them, and click on the links below to enjoy Peter and the Wolf by Sergei Prokofiev.